My name is Ella. I'm a spoken word poet and theatre maker from Brighton, and I'm currently studying script writing and performance here at UEA. Over the last 3 years, I've been performing my poetry around the UK, and last year I put on my own spoken word theatre piece for the Brighton Fringe. Since starting university, I've started up the Spoken Word Society. Today, I want to share with you a poem I wrote and talk about how spoken word is inspiring a new generation of protest writers and performers. Once the moon completes its cycle, I know you'll come, yet I'm still never fully prepared. I feel clumsy. I stumble, I stammer when you are near, and when I finally feel you, I wish I could just disappear. I panic, I go red, I rummage through my bag, and there's never anything there. Crap. No one else must see you. This much has always been clear to me. So I will have to ask the girl sitting near to me the question. A question that has many times wound itself around my tongue. A question each and every girl has uttered, usually with a slight stutter. Do you have a spare tampon? As always, I whisper, so others aren't aware of what's going on down there. Now I need to be left alone with you, if only for one night. We get along, us two. We barely even fight. Like an unwelcome guest, I did not invite you in, and I don't know when you'll be leaving. You punch me in the stomach, clench up my insides, send pains shooting down my spine, but I no longer retaliate. I pop some pills, clean you up, and pretend I feel just fine. You are a bloody mess. My patience, you test, you leak, and I scrub from red to white and back again. I'm sick of all these bullshit pains and relentless stains. But I know we shouldn't complain. We shouldn't complain. Because humankind would simply be left behind without this red reminder, without this holy sign of health, fertility, and life. In a world where I am constantly surrounded by strife, and the only time we see you is in death or devastation, glorified to a nation where young boys are encouraged to view blood as a bit of fun, just as long as it involves a sword or a gun, and there are shots to be fired, wars to be won. But when this vital fluid sheds for life, instead of death caused by bullets or knives, it is hidden, hushed, and even hated, leaving a young girl to feel humiliated over something she was never able to negotiate. Never do we negotiate the money spent just to keep us from discontent. It seems mandatory, necessary to prevent train seats, white sofas, men's beds from becoming the colour of deep rose red. Shove a plug in it, love. Otherwise, like the heavens falling from above, my blood gates will unlatch and down my legs the streams will fall, but still I mop up, get up, stand tall, proud of the gifts nature has bestowed on my womanly insides. So I find it a little bit hard to grasp why. My precious life harbourer, which regenerates, sheds, and renews, is waiting, a little bit impatiently in a queue, for me to pay for the goods that should surely be provided for us freely. But all of this is even more unjust when I think of the women now, and throughout the ages, forced to stay inside because there's no other way to go about their daily lives. So they must be locked away, isolated, ashamed, instead of uniting in celebration of something that signals our creation. Thank you. That was the poem. That particular poem is entitled Glampons. And I chose to perform this particular piece to demonstrate how I believe poetry and performance can go hand in hand. I also picked this piece to show how poetry can be a powerful tool of protest in the 21st century. As an artist, I aim to give a platform to issues that are unrepresented in society. I particularly like to tell stories encompassing the female experience and confront the injustices we still face today. Through the power of creativity, contemporary poetry is helping to destigmatise issues that so many of us tend to shy away from. In previous generations, poetry has definitely been considered an elitist art form, one which only a select few have been invited to partake. But since the birth of spoken word, performance poetry and poetry slams, it's become a lot more inclusive and accessible art form. Now, having been involved in the poetry scene for some time now, I have seen how it is inspiring a whole new generation of creatives to use spoken word to communicate political and social messages which reflect the lives and struggles of real people growing up today. I believe the world is in a time of crisis, and we need art more than ever to be a catalyst for change. Poetry has personally given me a creative and constructive outlet for my opinions and my emotions, and I strongly believe it will be a growing force in empowering future generations. Thank you.